at a brunch in the heart of New Orleans. My mother raised her mimosa glass and smirked. "If it weren't for pity, do you really think anyone would have invited you here?" Ouch. It wasn't a joke. It was a calculated jab, sharp enough to sting, but subtle enough for no one to call her out. My aunt sipped her drink, avoiding eye contact, and added, "Let her feel important for a change." Suddenly, the dining table felt like a stage, and they were seasoned performers in their familiar roles: the sharp-tongued mother, the detached aunt, the joking brother, and me, the silent observer. I held my coffee cup like it was my lifeline, smiling and nodding as if I didn't exist. But trust me, I heard everything loud and clear. Welcome to Whispered Reads, where family secrets are laid bare and the truth has nowhere to hide. Have you ever felt like an outsider among those who call themselves family? They need you when the bills are due, when their accounts are in the red, when they want to look successful without paying the price. But when you sit there, quiet and tired, hoping for just one kind glance, they turn you into the punchline. Suddenly, you're the problem, not them. So, what do you do in a family where affection comes with a receipt and love is reserved for those who know how to stay silent? Stick around, because some rebellions don't come with shouting or revenge. Sometimes, it just takes one person deciding to loosen their grip on the chains everyone thought they'd hold forever. My name is Rachel Monroe. I'm 35, living alone in a 2-bedroom apartment in Houston, Texas, working as a forensic accountant. I deal with messy financials, hidden expenses, and neglected tax filings, numbers so small they seem harmless until they quietly tank a company. The job requires precision, logic, and a lot of patience. Funny thing is, none of those skills ever helped me with my family, because in my family, logic never beats emotion. My family is scattered across Baton Rouge, Jackson, and Lafayette. But geography has never stood in the way of the invisible web that connects them and traps me. If you ask who's covering the bills, you'll get silence. But if someone says, "Rachel's got it," everyone nods. No objections. Because for as long as I can remember, I've been the stable one. And stability in our family meant responsibility. I buy my mother's plane tickets every holiday because she's too old to figure out online booking. I book hotels for my aunt when she visits because you're closer, dear. I let Jack, my older brother, borrow my credit card for an anniversary trip with his girlfriend, promising to pay me back after his bonus hits. Spoiler alert, the bonus never came, and neither did the money. I got used to being the fallback plan, the backup wallet, the uncredited sponsor. At first, maybe one day they'd see me differently. But the more I gave, the more I learned. When you're the only one taking responsibility, you're also the only one to blame when things fall apart. Then there was the cabin at Cattle Lake, a place that used to be the backdrop for our so-called family memories. In 2009, when my father was about to lose it to foreclosure, I was the only one with a credit score good enough to co-sign. I signed. No thanks, just good. We got to keep it. Since then, every maintenance fee, repair, and property tax has come out of my pocket. They came to the cabin like it was their God-given right, ordering food, leaving trash behind, and forgetting to turn off the air conditioning. I never once got a check-in call. I lived like that for too long, thinking I was doing the right thing. But the truth is, they never needed me to do it. They just needed me to take it, until that day at brunch, when my mother raised her mimosa and said, "If it weren't for pity, ... do you really think anyone would have invited you here?" That was the moment I realized I was never truly a part of them. I was a convenience. And that wasn't going to change unless I changed it first. That night, I got home earlier than usual. I didn't stop by the grocery store or the coffee shop. I just sat in my car, staring at the pale yellow light spilling from my apartment balcony. Everything inside was neat and orderly, but for the first time, it felt empty. I brewed a cup of peppermint tea and opened my laptop. My fingers typed with decisiveness, no hesitation. The subject line was just 2 words: ready now. I didn't need to explain anything to Jared, the lawyer I had worked with back in 2009. That night, the hesitation was gone. I hit send, knowing it was real this time. I logged into the family credit account I had managed for years and began shutting it down. I removed each person from the account, feeling like I was unhooking the last chains keeping me bound. I didn't feel triumphant or sad. It was like pulling off an old bandage from a wound that had already healed. I didn't give anyone a heads up because I knew if I said something, they'd call it a misunderstanding. This time, I wanted silence to witness my choice. 2 weeks later, the first message came from Jack. Why isn't my card working? I stared at the screen, didn't reply. Then came the calls. I powered off my phone. By the afternoon, my mother sent a string of messages. Sounding composed at first, then desperate, I flipped my phone face down and sat in silence. The next day, the family group chat lit up. My aunt sent a photo of the cabin, overgrown and dark. Rachel, is something going on? My dad chimed in, asking why the insurance had lapsed. I knew they were beginning to feel the space I had left behind, not because they missed me, but because they needed me. I muted the chat notifications and opened my Nap app. Cattle Lake was about a 4-hour drive from Houston. But this time, I wasn't going to check in or fix something. I was going to say goodbye. I arrived early in the morning, the mist still clinging to the lake. The cabin looked the same, but there was a quiet emptiness in the air. I stepped inside, turned on the lights, and walked a slow lap through the cabin. I started taking down family photos, carefully placing them in a box labeled, Family, What It Used to Be. That afternoon, I sat at the desk near the window and typed up an email to Jared. The subject line was simple: go ahead. I attached every document he needed to begin the formal listing of the cabin. When I clicked send, I felt clarity, crisp, quiet clarity. This cabin was just a house, and no house is worth holding on to if it's the only thing tying you to people who don't know how to love. I hadn't intended to ask for the money back, but something shifted. That night, I opened a new spreadsheet and typed in one number: $4,000. I remembered the day Jack called me, his voice shaky, saying he was about to be sued for insurance fraud. And just like that, I was ready to reclaim my life.